The premise here today of this presentation is to talk about mentorship. It's talk about transforming your workforce into the future of your business. It's talking about teaching them a skill set that will help you in your goals and your needs along the way. Let's start with what is mentorship. Well, mentorship is simply transferring of an idea, a skill set, a set of information to another person clearly and concisely and so they can grasp it, so they can take it and understand it and use it as their own. Well, farming, what is farming, right? Farming is tending to the environment or soil, planting a seed of your future, if you will, and nurturing it, providing food and an environment with which it can grow, kind of protecting it a little bit, exposing it to the elements, very slowly, allowing it to stand on its own and eventually bear fruit and provide harvest. Well, farming the future of your business and your future workforce has a lot of these same principles. Mentorship for me was a guiding principle in my life. I'm the product of so many great chef mentors. They always took the time to take me in and tell me how or why not, or give me the entire experience. I would certainly not be where I am today without those chef mentors. What about you? How many of you have the workforce you need? How many of you have exactly what you want to maybe carry on your vision of your business or of your endeavor? Why not? Are all the good employees taken? Maybe it's the pay scale. Maybe it's the environment, right? Would it be safe to say that today's youth are very different than we were? Would it be safe to say that they're different than you and me? Well, let's see. Today's youth is creative, right? Energetic, stubborn, inspirable, certainly. Short-sighted, maybe a little attention deficit disorder there. Oh my God. They have the world at their fingertips, right? I mean, literally, the world. Well, that doesn't sound so much like a chef I knew 20 years ago, right? And probably not very different than a lot of you or people you knew. Not every young person today is worried about their future. They're not interested in what the future will bring. They want to know what's right now. They want to talk about what's important to them. They want instant gratification. They want answers. But most importantly, and this is a big part of mentorship, is they want a model to follow. They want someone they can look up to. They want an example, right? I mean, that's the easiest way to learn. This is where we come in. As business owners, as fathers, parents, neighbors, coworkers, we have needs, we have dreams, we have a long-term plan, we have goals. We've learned from our mistakes. We spent countless hours working on what it is we want and what we achieved this far, right? We've got this all bottled up in a competent, calculating person, a business person, right? Well, that's what we're looking for in an employee, right? So why not share that? Why not share your experiences? Why not let them in and understand kind of your trials and tribulations and your failures? Know that they can learn from your mistakes. Be humble about it. Let them understand. Well, sharing is not always the beginning, okay? The beginning is certainly knowing what you want, knowing what your needs are. So you can clearly portray to them what they are, because that's the link there. How do you do that? How do you translate your needs to what today the young people need, their ideas, or how do you talk to them? Or better yet, how do you have them talk to you and translate backwards? You have to understand them. You have to know them. You have to take the time to understand their plight, right? The heat of a rooftop, of a roofer, right? Getting in the ditch with the plumber. The frustration of a programmer. Those things they go miles when you understand someone's plight or understand the situation they're in. And, that's what you want. I mean, you have to be able to clearly tell someone what you want and how to do it well. In my business, I'm able to give instruction to kids, give them a set of skills that they can use. And a lot of these kids are culinarily, sometimes they're awesome, but a lot of times they're considered to be the dregs of society. Nobody else, who wants to actually go and work all these long hours, nights and weekends, give up my free time and a heat of a kitchen on my feet all day. This guy will never work out, or don't hire him, Well, with a few key principles and a clear method of transferring that information, you can develop a young person into a capable, learning person that's capable of achieving a goal and give them a real sense of value, a sense of education, a carrot that they can take with them that goes beyond their financial today. It goes beyond what you can pay them. It's something they can use forever. So here are some of the ideas I use every day, right? Everybody wants to be successful, okay? Everybody wants to be, they want to be right, okay? They want to be correct. They want to be said, oh, that was a great job. You did that correctly, right? Well, that's not so hard, right? I tied my shoe correctly. I ate that Lloyd burrito correctly, So everybody wants to be successful. Give them the opportunity. Give them the opportunity to be successful. Tell them the things that they can do. Clearly set the goals in front of them so that they can achieve them. And then when they do, make sure that you recognize them for it. Make sure that you tell them, that's a great job. The ribbon in second grade, your name on the loudspeaker, or your picture in the paper. That's all great, right? It makes you feel included. That's one of the key principles of a great mentorship program, is allowing the people to be successful. You must let them. And by all means, recognize them in front of their peers or in front of others. That goes a long way. If I run down and give this guy a high five, me and you, we're in, right? He's included. That's what you want. You want them to know. Include people, as we said, right? You have to include people, but you have to include people equally. You have to make sure that everybody knows that what they've done has been recognized. Setting the pace, setting the tone, setting the expectation. We talked about clearly talking about your goals, but the pace with which it needs to get to that goal is not always the same. It's not the same for me, it's not the same for you, it's not the same for your business. So you have to set your own pace, okay? You have to say, I'm going to go at this better and faster than the next guy, right? If it's jumbled for you, the process, that is, if it's jumbled for you, then how is someone else going to be able to follow it? How are they going to know what the pace is or what the expectations are? So make sure you define that clearly. Confrontation. It's not always the easiest topic. Confronting the issues, confronting the fears. It's important. Confrontation is what prevents mediocrity. You have to be able to look at someone in the eye and tell them exactly what you need, and then confront their issues with them. Confront it. Tell them, tell them how, or how you would deal with it. Lead them into success. And a lot of times, how you deal with the confrontation or how you deal with that issue is a model for their success and a model for the success of your business. We talked about acknowledging, but how about the rewards? We talked about the rewards a little bit. Establishing the rewards, not just the compensation and recognition, but the carrot of education, the long-term effects of being proficient, okay? What is proficiency? Well, proficiency is being able to do something well over and over and over again. Isn't that what we all want? Isn't that what we all need today, right? I mean, we need someone to say, I can do this and I can do this well. So if you establish that reward and make sure that they know that they're being going to be recognized, your staff success, and then pay them out in front of their peers. That's an amazing reward, right? I tell my guys all the time, it's not about making 50 cents more an hour. I want them to leave here and make 50,000. I want them to know that what they're taking has a bigger goal than just today, because that is what drives that long-term vision. That is what builds it within them. Finally, and certainly last but not least, is example leadership. The hallmark of a great mentorship program, farming the next generation of your business, is you. It is undeniably and honestly just you. You have to be the example. You have to walk the walk every single day, all the time. If you're not going to do it, you can't expect someone else to do it. You have to be able to do it better and faster than them, and they have to know that. You have to display it every single day, in every action, in every conversation, in every evaluation of any scenario. You have to know that you are the example, and they have to know that too. So in order to be the example, in order to have a successful workforce, in order to have people that will act and respond in your likeness and as you wish, you have to be the example. It doesn't sound that hard, does it? Well, it is. And it's probably the most difficult part, understanding that you are the model. It's a great realization, though. It really is. It humbles you to know that you're responsible. Someone is looking up to you. It also makes you learn the experience a little better. It makes you realize what it looks like from the outside. I can't see me, but if I could, there's one last thing I'd like to share with you today. I want to take an opportunity to show you a very rarely seen side of my business. We all know the business, the restaurant business, how it is. But this is an insider's look into the world of mentorship. Building great employees, developing them with the incentive to do better for you, to do better for themselves and for your company, but to do better all the time. Here it is. How mentorship works, first and foremost, is by and with example leadership. You have to be able to be the mentor all the time. You have to be able to be the complete package. For people to have a role model or even just a model to mimic and to base their actions on, you have to be the example. Getting someone in a mentorship situation to respond and to act as you wish or in your likeness has to happen a couple different ways. You have to set the example. You have to provide them with the tools and the environment with which they're able to act and be successful. You have to be humble. You have to allow them to learn from your mistakes. Mentorship, it's infinite. It is undying. The growth potential of an experience, it's priceless. You're able to mold someone with thought process and evaluation principles with certain scenarios, but then they add their own approach to it also, and then you learn from that. A little piece of your goodwill and teachings goes with them when they move on. The idea of educating someone is not to keep them with you, it's to allow them to grow, and if that growth rate is so exponential that they have to move on and seek new challenges, then your teachings actually carry on. You owe it to the people that took the time out of their day to teach you their experiences, to return that favor to them by teaching the next generation. I feel like as you're teaching someone else, you evaluate it from a different perspective. So now you're teaching it to someone, you now have to tell them every scenario by which that particular project or task could be affected by the outside influences. So now you're learning as you go, because maybe they bring up a point that you didn't consider in your evaluations of a task or of a skill. The cost effectiveness of mentorship is, instead of having to hire high-level employees, you now take the person that has the intangibles of drive, passion, creativity, or even just genuine interest and honesty, and then teach them the skill set that they need to build on top of that platform. Effective mentorship is scalable. It applies to all areas of business and craft. One of the first steps is to set the expectation unbelievably high, to clearly portray to them what is necessary and what is expected. Having
the bar at a certain height and knowing that you have to reach it all the time. There has to be a standard with which to base their actions on. It has to be consistent in a form that they can depend on it. As a leader, you have to be fluid, you have to be all things. You have to be one day passive and one day unwavering. You have to be able to take on any scenario. You have to be able to take on the role of the needs of that particular project or that particular business. The skill set may change, but the character traits never do. In our kitchen environment, mentorship works for me because it gives me the results I'm looking for. It's something that I can give them, the younger culinarians, an education, a skill set that they can take with them forever. They can use it to make a living for the rest of their lives. It allows them a learning process today. It gives them evaluative principles that we need every day in this operation. So for me, teaching them why I make those decisions or why this is affected this product this way or why not, or why I would not do something this way, is giving them the scenario in entirety. It's allowing for them to make their own decisions and still focusing on one goal, with the idea of maintaining momentum and the buildup of mentorship, always striving to be better. You have to know that the end task is never just the end. You know, there's always another level. There will always be someone else that'll come along that'll be faster or smarter. So you can never rest on your success. You have to know that, yes, acknowledge it, reap the rewards, understand that it's great, but yet now how do I get better? How do I make this better?
I just want to say that although I enjoy that video very much, we've had a lot of talk today about how we can be better and about how collectively things work better. Just so you know, those people and those pioneers today that came and talked about those things all had to be that person that they are and they want to be today back then too. They had to be it every single day and every single moment. And that is the basis of what mentorship should be. You have to be it. It is up to you. Thank you.